Okay, we come to that part of the program where it's an it's an interactive discussion of the future of real estate. So we have a panel up here. Samantha Story is the agent of RE/MAX Home Team and also the moderator for this part of the meeting. So Sam, it's up to you.
Turning on my flashlight, that's my technology for today. Anyways, I'm Samantha Story, if you don't know me, and I am the 2014 chair of the YPN committee. Having a great time already. I'd first like to introduce our entire panel for today. First, Deb Chamberlain. Deb, can you stand? Deb has been a realtor. Deb has been a realtor for 14 years. She currently is the 2014 president of the Connecticut Realtors, formerly known as CAR. Deb is the marketing and communication. She's on the marketing and communication committee for ECAR. Deb is a member of the Major Investor Council for NAR, and she is also on the Housing Opportunity Committee for NAR. Thank you very much, Deb, for being here. Next on our committee, over to my right, is April Fenton. Want to stand up? April has been a realtor for 4 years now. She currently is the Eastern Connecticut Association of Realtors chair of the Government Affairs Committee. She's also an ECAR YPN committee member and a strategic planning committee member. April is on the RPAC committee for Connecticut Realtors. Thank you. And to my right is Quincy Clayton. He's typing away. Quincy has been a realtor for 13 years. He is our ECAR treasurer and is a YPN committee member. He is also on the board of directors at the local and state level. And Quincy is a social advisory and diversity committee member for NAR. Thank you, Quincy. And the last person on our panel, I think, traveled the furthest today to come to the meeting. They came from Chicago. His name is Chad Curry. Give a big welcome to Chad. Chad has been with NAR since 2006. 2006. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me with that. And he worked with government affairs for 2 years. And then he decided to go to the tech side, and now he is the managing director for the NAR Center for Realtor Technology. Thank you very much for coming today. With the real estate associations, as we currently know it, being on the chopping block due to threats of irrelevance, sparked by savvy consumers and agents alike, feeling that they can operate independent of the agents and associations. Forward-thinking leadership is vital to our success. Selling the American dream is rewarding, but will the reward end with the demise of the backbone of our industry? Here's Deb Chamberlain to lead a brief discussion on leadership.
Trying not to kill myself here.
Yes.
Those of you who know me know I hate to stand up and talk like this. So this morning I was in my car and I was thinking, God, I hope my black eye is not visible. For those of you who watch Facebook, I was skiing this weekend, and while I'd love to tell you I had a dramatic jump that landed with a fall and a black eye, the real truth is I ran into the bedpost at 2 in the morning. So I'm kind of pleased, actually. We're doing this in the dark. I hope my makeup is holding up. I was sitting there in the car and I thought to myself, I had some planned remarks, and I thought, I wonder what Siri thinks about leadership, because I have my iPad with me in the passenger seat. So I punched the button and Siri said good morning and asked me what I wanted to know. And I said, what are the qualities of a good leader? And the two things that stuck in my mind were that she thought it was somebody who could motivate and guide. And I thought, well, that's interesting, and that's true. And then I remembered back about a year or so ago, I was at an NAR meeting, I don't even remember where now, but it was a great meeting, and we had a section just on leadership. It might have actually been Chicago, but I can't quite recall. They had a really, really talented orchestra leader. And I thought, well, that's an interesting twist. They're bringing in musicians on a leadership meeting. And it was the most amazing session I think I've ever been to, because we had multiple different parts of the orchestra, and he had them all set up in different parts of the room about this size. And individually, each of these instruments was amazing all by itself. You know, it played a note or two notes or whatever the tune was. And then gradually, each of them was added back in. Now, there again, if they're all playing a different tune, you have one sound. But when you slowly choreograph and orchestrate all of those instruments to play in tandem, and you're playing whatever you're playing, the sound becomes so much more impressive as a group than it would be as a bunch of individual instruments doing their own thing. And I thought that really is leadership. Leadership is all about having all of you here, and if everybody's working in their own direction for their own purpose, you don't have the same result as if you have a person up here guiding you, much like your president's doing this year, and working together as a team for common goals. And so, in addition to that, I thought to myself, okay, that's true. You know, we all have to lead, guide, and motivate, and bring everybody to the table for the same goal. But I thought, what is the difference between someone who ultimately becomes a leader and someone who doesn't? And where does that all start? And this is the part where I get to embarrass John. Not everybody's born with the skills to be a leader. It's just the reality. But those who are don't always become leaders unless they run into somebody like a John Baldock. Somebody who maybe sees in them something that maybe they don't even see in themselves. And I'm going to take a little tiny bit of credit for this one right here, because Quincy's one of those people, and I met him, and about 4 minutes into that discussion I thought, ooh, there's the guy who could do some leading. And Sam's also stepped up. And so this year, when I had my installation, you may all recall that my theme was Step Up and Stand Out. And these are two people who've done that, and I'm looking around the room, and boy, we're full of leaders here. There's a lot of you who've led in a lot of different ways in the organization. But one thing I can tell you for sure, you weren't born, and at the age of 2, you were a world leader. That just didn't happen. It was years of nurturing, coming up and meeting people like the John Baldocks of the world, and for me it was past leaders at NAR and CAR, now CTR, who grabbed a hold of me and said, you know something, why don't you come on this committee? Why don't you chair this RPAC committee? Now at the time I thought that was a huge compliment until I realized no one else would take the job, but that's okay. We did well and we made gold. But really, in all honesty, I joke about that, but the truth is it's a long process. It's a process where you start with those skills, you have a mentor or many mentors who take you along. Bob Kimball was one of my mentors. And you develop into the leader that you ultimately are, and it's a process. And so John was a good part of that, and he nurtured me all my way through, as though many of you did as well. And so as we move forward, those of you who have been involved, you know what I'm talking about. And I think those of you who are new, we've got some YPNers in the group. I'm going to just talk to you for 2 minutes, or maybe 30 seconds, about the importance of getting involved in this association. In my opinion, there's nothing more relevant than this association, because when you become a member of this association and you get involved, you are now not just you individually selling real estate, but you become the power of that whole team. You've got that whole team behind you. And when you learn to use that skill, you meet those top producers in all the different offices, and you serve on committees together, and maybe you're at various breakfast meetings like this, and you're rubbing elbows with people who are selling 10 million or 15 or 20 million a year. Guess what? That rubs off on you. So my suggestion would be that you do step up and stand out whenever you're asked. Because if you're asked to go anywhere and do anything, it's because somebody like me, or like a Quincy, or like a John, or Bob, took one look at you and realized you had a talent that maybe you didn't even know you had. Maybe you had some skill you didn't know you had. And at the end of the day, when you're done doing the job we ask you to do, you're going to be a better realtor. You're going to close more deals because you now have skills you didn't have before, and we helped you find them. So that's my contribution for the morning, and thank you so much for having me. Anybody have questions for me on anything? After, John is telling me you're allowed to ask questions after. Okay. John, can I just 2 seconds say one more thing? Would be all right? Okay. I want to look at the big hook. I just wanted to support April up here because, God, that's how I got my start, doing just what she's doing this morning. And I remember standing up here begging for RPAC dollars and trying to make goal, and I even wore a pink flamingo outfit once in an effort to get people to donate. I don't know if it worked, but anyway, at the end of the day, one thing I will tell you about this is this organization does advocacy better than any other group in the country, and no, I'm not exaggerating. There isn't any other group that lobbies harder for the interest of its members than we do. Even the NRA doesn't do it better than we do it. And at the end of the day, a lot of folks, you'll hear us saying, oh, please give to RPAC, it's really important, and your fair share is $15. But that doesn't begin to tell you the story of what your world would look like in real estate if we weren't around having that big discussion in DC and up in Hartford on your behalf. And I want to see a show of hands here real quick. How many people had a deal that had issues with flood insurance this year so far? Anybody? Raise your hand. Okay. We've got legislation on the table. We're lobbying hard. Pick up your phone. Call your representatives. We need to push it through the House so that we can roll back the disaster that has become the current flood program. Thank you so much. Write out those checks.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, imagine closing real estate transactions when your verbal communication between you and the buyer or seller was only by text, email, and get this, Facebook messaging. Are you prepared to court your customer for weeks or several months without ever speaking to them prior to meeting at a home that they will inevitably make an offer on, since they know everything about it before they set up the first of only 3 face-to-face meetings? The showing of the home, the inspection, and the closing. Take a look at this brief clip to get a glimpse of the huge gap between today's real estate agent and tomorrow's clients.
Sometimes people say I can get a big head. Now, I don't blame my accusers for not understanding the enormity of the brain that lives within this skull, but I've caught up with an expert on another mysterious group of people called the millennials, who apparently also have big brains. So these millennials, what kind of beings are they?
Well, I wouldn't say they're beings. They're regular people.
People, you say. People with huge brains that communicate via telekinesis, right?
They don't really communicate with telekinesis. They communicate with technology.
I'm pretty sure it's telekinesis.
No, it's definitely technology.
It's telekinesis.
It's technology.
Well, let's see if we can watch some more and learn about these mysterious millennials.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, April will share a bit of insight how she communicates with her clients. Please feel free to ask her questions. John said at the end, but you can ask her questions right now.
I guess.
You just gave me that look. Come on up, April.
Oh, you can stay there.
Yeah. Okay, so how many people have gotten a client from Facebook? Raise your hand. Okay. And then how many of you use texting as your main form of communicating with clients? Okay. How many of you do the majority of your marketing online? Okay. So, to start off, when dealing with first-time buyers, the majority of them are in their late 20s to early 30s. With today's technology, they want everything done now, yesterday if that's possible. When communicating with this age group, you need to respond instantly, and they want a response within an hour. Calling or emailing someone back 2 days later is just not okay with them. They always want instant responses. Young people have all of this new technology mastered, and they expect the same out of their realtor. The main communication source is new technology, i.e. smartphones, tablets, and computers. The most common forms of communication are texting and email because it is instant, also messaging on sites like Facebook. Today's buyers are all online, and many times they already have houses in mind that they want before they ever call a realtor. A strong web presence is crucial to attracting future buyers. Sites like Realtor.com, Zillow, and Trulia are the leading home searching sites for first-time home buyers, so it is vital that you have detailed profiles on all of these sites. The most practical means of marketing yourself to this age group is by using social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn, and it's also free. The best way to become proficient in new technology is to team up with somebody in your office or from YPN who's younger and is proficient. That way they can teach you how to use the tools that are necessary in your daily business when dealing with young clients. So, does anybody have any questions of how to do any of this?
Okay, and nobody has any questions for April? Yes, Hillary.
Do you use Instagram to try to get any clients?
I don't use Instagram, but I've seen other people use it for posting pictures of listings and stuff like that. But it's good to have yourself on almost every site because everyone young is using them. So the more you're out there, the more they see you, the better chances you are picking up a younger buyer.
Are you allowed to post a photo of a house that you want to sell on Facebook? I thought that was not allowed.
I ask them. So I'll be like, can I put this on my Facebook page? Because I have a lot of, friends that are looking for houses, and I've never had somebody say no.
John, wasn't there something you couldn't do that on your personal page?
On a business page, you can.
Business page you
Oh,
can, not on
business
your
page, okay.
personal.
Okay, all right.
Right, but I see agents do it all the time on their personal. I think it's okay to put, I have an open house today, right? Come visit me, that's fine. But, all right, any other questions? Yes? Craigslist. Do you want to answer that?
I have used it in the past for rentals, but I've also seen a lot of scams on there. So to me, it's not as valid as using like Zillow or Trulia because those are designated for real estate. Like I've had rentals and they put them on there that I didn't put on there and they're half price, and I've had people walking around the property and stuff like that. So I try to use only main real estate sources.
Yeah, I think it's fine. A lot of my clients ask about Craigslist, and as long as you put your name, your real estate company, right, Marilyn? We have to put the real estate company. What else if we put it on a, oh, sorry, Marilyn, just put her on the spot. But anyways.
I'm writing my check to RPAC.
All right, she's off the hook for that. Now, that did just happen to me 2 weeks ago. I had a rental in Groton for $1,350, and someone posted it on Facebook for $900, and I started.
Craigslist.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Craigslist, yeah, and they started calling me like 50 people, and I'm like, what's going on? They saw it on Craigslist, and someone said the landlord wrote them, and I said, can you send me the email? And of course, they were from Malaysia or something, and they said to send them a deposit, security deposit, so it definitely was a scam. So anyways, yes, Marvin?
I wonder how many people have had the same issue, because I know we've had it as well.
Yep.
How many
Can you
of
show a hand? Can I have a show of hands of, right?
I guess
Right.
it says something about why you should not use Craigslist.
Shouldn't use it.
Right,
People,
right. Okay, any, I thought I saw a couple other hands. Yes, Camille.
Hi, good morning, everyone. A couple of comments on Craigslist. It is a good tool to use because at one time they were connecting it. So if somebody came, you advertise on Craigslist and you clicked on the house that you're looking at, it would automatically, that lead could automatically go to your main office site. They no longer do that. And that just recently stopped. So it would bring leads to the office site if you're advertising what you're supposed to in your office as well as your contact information. Secondly, I have a question in regards, and if there is a problem, you can just go to Craigslist and report with the spam, and they'll remove that. So that's a way to handle it. I have a question regarding, for April, regarding negotiating. When you are working with the buyer who, for example, if this was on the video, what do you do for negotiating when there's, when you're trying to get to the nitty-gritty and going back and forth? Have you just used texting or emails?
It depends on.
The problem with texting is you can't, unless there's an app that somebody knows about, you can't really save those messages. And you can't.
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, but it doesn't copy the same way. It doesn't copy the same format, at least when I'm. So if somebody knows that, that's great, I'd like to know that. Because that's another issue, you know, in those crucial times.
It depends on the client. A lot of times I'll go meet with them personally and sit down and negotiate everything, but sometimes people are at work. So if they want, you know, the deal to happen now, you can always do counters and everything via text, and then you have everything saved too, which is, I prefer to do that all via email because then I have every single thing documented and saved, whereas a phone call, you know, that's not, you can't trace that unless you record it.
Right, but a phone call gets to the nitty-gritty and then you document as per our phone discussion. That's,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering because I'm trying to, I have one person now who's in California and she's constantly just texting, but mainly, emailing, mainly because of her work schedule and our time. But I find it very difficult. We had an offer that came through and she lost the deal because she just waited too long to deal with her as a phone call. It takes, it's very important when you're documenting this, for what I understand, and what I want to try to make sure is that I'm communicating properly through my writing. So you have to have really good writing skills. It's not just a good, you know, this is what I think you should do. You have to be, you know, oriented in a way or documented in a way that's going to, if it ever comes back to you, that you're properly representing the interests of your client. So.
Okay, Mary, do you want to touch upon that?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment, Camille, communicating via email with your client in California may not have been the best way. You kind of have to know who your client is. If your client was 30, it would have been like this. So maybe for your client who could have been older, the phone was probably the better way.
We only have one time for one more question. Yes.
On most phones, most phones, if you just find a text and you just push down on that text, another box will pop up saying copy, link, forward.
Forward, right. All right, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. Some of you may already know about big data and the business value of combining and mining huge amounts of data, and for some of you, this is going to be a great introduction into big data. What would happen if an entire industry used big data solutions? Well, did you know that it's happening right now? In fact, the United States healthcare industry is a $2 trillion industry, and they're already implementing big data solutions. It's estimated that it will make a $300 billion difference to the bottom line, and that's each year. So let's think about it. $200 billion of that value is just in reduced expenses. If we in our business could reduce just 10% off the bottom line, think about what that would do for you and your business and for us as an industry. Take a look at this quick video, and that's just one of the potentials with big data solutions.
Like a wrecking ball, digital technology had disrupted industry after industry, and real estate was clearly next. A small, diverse group of real estate leaders, fierce competitors who would never otherwise collaborate, rallied under the cry, "Not us, not on our watch." A radical move, they created a collaborative business model that leveraged big data to uncover new untapped markets and niches. In a bold shift, they invited frenemies like Zillow, along with other outsiders. They even gave regulators a way to detect new market crises, winning vital changes in policy, which allowed super agents working the high end of the new markets with branded lifestyle services to combine commissions and other revenue streams. The low end was a low-margin free-for-all, with Zillow, Trulia, and Facebook running the MLS, and over 65% of all agents serving this segment by 2017. The middle of the market? Well, it was hollowed out. With a robust economy, an accelerating housing market, and a favorable policy environment, many hoped the sky was the limit. But the wealth divide kept growing, and more got by on low-pay service jobs, falling out of the home ownership market. And those crazy guys who brought us Subprime 1.0 are unfortunately working on a sequel. So, will the good times keep rolling? Nothing is guaranteed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Curry will now enlighten us about big data and what it means to you. Please feel free to ask him questions.
Yes, thank you. I'll start right. Any questions right now? I'm going to stand up a little bit here because I like to see everybody in the room. But I do welcome questions. So I'm going to talk about big data in the future. How many have heard the term big data in this room? Okay, some misconceptions I want to clear up. It is not a spreadsheet with 2,000 rows of data. Okay, that's not big data. Right? What big data is essentially disparate data sets coming together to help you make a prediction or a forecast. Okay? This is a concept that's been around for years, but only recently have we been calling it big data. And honestly, I'm not much of a fan of that term. The term I prefer is predictive analytics, because that's what you're doing with it. You're trying to make a determination as to what might happen with that data. The video we saw was from something called Rethink that happened, and that was one of their scenarios, a possible scenario that could happen if groups came together. One of the things I would tell you, if you want to have a nice overview of big data, there's a book actually called Big Data. It's a nice overview that gives you a succinct description as to what big data is. The amount of digital and analog data we currently have, and this is everything from Gutenberg, pre-Gutenberg, paintings, drawings, and digital data is about 1,200 exabytes. Anybody have a sense of what an exabyte is? It's 1 billion gigabytes, 1 exabyte, right? We have 1,200 of those. That's like, if you had a 500 gigabyte hard drive, you would need 2 million of those to hold 1 exabyte. Right? It's a ton of data. What do we do with it? Some things right now, I'm going to talk about some other people in other industries, and Samantha mentioned healthcare. That's one that's done a great job of this. And I'll say flatly that I got to feel like we're behind the curve on this, right? And now we're working to catch up. So comparing digital to analog data, in the year 2000, 25% of all of our data was digital. By 2007, take a guess, how much do you think of our data, of all data, the 1,200 exabytes, how much of it was digital by 2007? Any guesses on that? 95. Anything else?
75.
75. We have a winner over here. 93% of our data, I don't have any prizes, I'm sorry. I have no prizes. Congratulations. By 2013, it's around 98%. I mean, can you imagine? That's because of things like Facebook, pat on the back from the internet. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yes, it's a very popular one, isn't it? Those types of services, we're creating more and more data. Now, the problem with that data is it's in a format that isn't easily usable. Right? 5% of all data that we have access to is in a structured format. And what I mean by that are things like the Excel sheets, databases like MySQL databases, that we can actually just use straight away. So 95% of that data is unstructured data. I have photos, my Instagram account is open, right? I leave it open for people, and I have photos of my kids up there. And if you were to go to my Instagram account, you would see my kids, and you would learn a lot about my kids and what we do. Big fans of music. We love a lot of play, a lot of puppet play. We go out a lot and go to beaches and travel. We love doing it. Problem is, though, there's no database that captures that information. Or is there? In this manner of speaking, yes, there is. People are scraping sites like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and culling this data to find out more about you and your likes and your dislikes, and what it is you're up to, right? And I'm not here to scare you, by the way. I'm from the National Association of Realtors here. It's not my job to scare you. It's here to help. I'm here to help you. I want to talk about who's using this data and how they're using it, and talk about how some of this stuff has analogs for what we could possibly do to help members save money and save time. Right? So the first example I want to talk about is Target. Okay? Everybody knows Target, right? They decided to give away credit card numbers recently. Target, a few years back, decided to use some of the data that they'd been collecting on their shoppers. Specifically, people who would use the baby registry function at their stores. And they wanted to see if they could predict when somebody is newly pregnant, newly expecting. Right? And so what they started doing is looking at buying habits. And their data analysts started seeing things like unscented lotions popping up that were a common data point that women who were expecting would have. Cotton balls, hand sanitizer, blue or pink rugs. And so they started taking this information and they were able to build a profile of women who were expecting. Then what they did with this is they would send targeted flyers to those women, right? And they would say, hey, here's all this maternity stuff that you don't know you need yet, but you're going to need it soon. And it got a little out of control. And what happened was, there was a moment where this father came into a Target store with the flyer and went to the manager and said, sir, I'm extremely frustrated. This flyer here was sent to my teenage daughter. Can you tell me why? And the guy's like, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm very sorry. We'll correct it. Very, very sorry about that. So he goes back, talks to he sends a message off to the Target headquarters about, guys, you may want to watch your algorithm. It seems to be off target. He calls the guy a few days later and says, hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. The manager calls the father and says, I just want to tell you I'm sorry. I'm very sorry for what happened. And I've talked to people at headquarters who are working on it. And the father had quite a soft tone. He said, well, I've had a conversation with my daughter and she is expecting. Now, that's the scary part of this, right? I mean, like, they're not close. And one of the things that Target's done is they've reworked their flyers and made it such that you don't have, it's not all baby stuff. There might be a lawnmower next to a picture of a crib. So they've filtered it a little bit, right, to make it more acceptable. And that's a big quandary we have. What is acceptable? What's an acceptable amount of data for people to have on this? Right? Now, who here uses Facebook? Can I see hands for people who use Facebook? Love data, yeah, okay. Twitter? Who uses Instagram? Okay. Who has a blog? Okay, great. So all of those are data points, and that information can help somebody build a profile. Right? When you use Facebook, what do you notice about the ads now? Has anybody noticed anything about the ads in particular?
Mine are all real estate.
Yours are real estate related, that's a surprise.
Mine are women over 40.
Women over 40, I'm not. Let's see here, anybody else?
Just geared towards your own personal business.
Absolutely right, they're extremely personalized, right? Now this sometimes backfires on me because my wife writes for an online blog, and sometimes I'll help her put images together, collages of, it's a home blog. It's called Apartment Therapy. Anybody familiar with it? I'll put picture collages together for her, and then on Facebook I'll start seeing things from Etsy, which I don't shop on, so I'm kind of curbing the data just a bit. So one of the reasons I brought that example up is that, one of the things that you guys want to do is save money. Any type of interaction you have to get new clients, cold calls, direct mailings, it's a lot of time, and it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of anxiety. Right? What if we could produce lists of people who are closer to where you would want to target? The degree of certainty is much higher on them being likely to either want to sell or buy. And you can target those lists, right? Another example of this, and I know I'm not going to get too political, but I just want to talk about this as a use case. The Obama campaign in 2012. they are one that did use Facebook data, and they used it really well. Their money went into their data program. They wanted to understand the profile of every person that was a potential voter in the United States, and they used Facebook, Twitter, and they used semantic language learning programs looking for sentiment to understand how people felt about their candidate and how they felt about the other candidate. Now, who's here ever worked in a political campaign? And who's gone door knocking? Who's had fun going door knocking? Good, very good, sir. I want to talk to you about RPAC and government affairs and how you can get that gentleman's name. Yeah. So here's the problem. It's arduous because you don't know how many doors you're going to get slammed in your face. So what the Obama campaign did is rather than waste resources on those people who would not vote for Obama or who might be turned, they decided to target people who were uncertain but likely to be turned. They knocked on much fewer doors and changed more minds that way, right? And that's just to illustrate how this type of data can help you in the field. I mean, think about direct mailings. If I knew that only a certain percentage of the people are more than likely to buy, you could save so much money doing it, right? Cold calls, your list is shorter and it's much more friendly, it's much more appealing. The third group I want to talk about is Walmart. Everybody's heard of Walmart. They decided to use this in the concept of big data in a different way. And what they decided to do was during hurricane season, they wanted to look at people's purchasing habits and understand what it is they're buying. You know, we understand they're going to buy batteries, they're going to buy first aid kits, they're going to buy all sorts of medical, stuff you would need for a hurricane. But another thing that jumped out of the data set that they saw was Pop-Tarts. Their sale of Pop-Tarts a few days before the storm went through the roof. Why would that be? Does anybody have any sense of that, why that might be?
Right.
Quincy's right, yeah, exactly, yeah. You don't have to cook them. You just eat them on the go, right? So what they decided to do is take that concept and relay out the stores during a hurricane, a few days before a hurricane, move the Pop-Tarts toward the front next to the batteries, next to the flashlights, next to the candles, and all that stuff. And sales went even higher. So understanding what is going on in your environment is crucial. Now, one of the things that we've been looking at, and what I'll say is, our group at NAR working with data is pretty nascent. We're pretty new, actually. October of this last year, Todd Carpenter was hired to be the managing director of the data analytics group. Anybody familiar with Todd Carpenter? Quincy is, and John. Yeah, Todd was the former social media director at NAR, and he's a great guy, extremely bright, and he's been in the industry for years. And he left, he went to another company. Their name rhymes with my wife's name, Julia. He worked there for a bit, and then he came back to NAR, so can't remember how to say it. Anyway, but he came back, and he's working on this, and his goal is to determine ways we can help our members be more successful and save them time and save them money. Not only members, our association at national, state, and local level as well. That's a pretty big goal. But I'm working alongside him, and we're working to understand better how our members are doing business, right? And the reason we want to understand that is so we can help them gain efficiencies, help associations save money. And one of the things we're looking at now, one of the things we're doing right now is doing an internal sweep of all the data we have at NAR to understand what it is exactly we know not only about our members, but our associations and ourselves. Because this is something we want to build for ourselves as well, so we can offer programs and services that most align with your guys' needs and wants. Now, there's already some work afoot to build systems that do this type of work within the real estate industry. I'm on the board for the Real Estate Standards Organization. Has everybody heard of RETS? Okay. You may or may not know of it. It's fun. It stands for Real Estate Transaction Standard. Okay. It's a way to standardize the field names and all the data that is in the real estate industry. We have 800 MLSs, and at one point, they were all kind of doing data their own way. And we still have a problem with this. We have a problem with data integrity within this industry. Part of the RETS standard and how some MLSs operate is they allow people to download the entire copy of their database for their area, and then they use that. Now, the biggest problem with that is once that data is downloaded, it's already out of date. It's already out of date. And then it comes into something called the gray market, which means that once somebody has a copy, they may be giving it to someone else, without them being licensed by the MLS. Then you have the problem where there's a listing on some guy's website that has your name on it that's been gone for 6 months, and you get a call with an irate person saying, hey, I am so excited about this house, I can't wait to buy it. Thanks for putting it up there. And you're like, you know what, that sold about 6 months ago. No, I saw it on a website. I saw it on a website. It's there. You gotta check it. It's true, I saw it on the internet. So then you have a problem now, right? You have to convince them that there are other opportunities for them. If you like that house, I've got other properties, but that's a very stressful way to start a conversation. Anyway, RETS standard, we're working on moving toward a different way of working with data called APIs, which stand for application, you don't need to know this, application programming interface. It's a more modern way of working with data. Twitter, Facebook, all of the big data companies work with data in this way. And we're moving RETS toward working with data in that regard, meaning MLSs, rather than giving somebody an entire copy of the database, they provide us this thing that certifies who they are called an API key, so they know who the person is getting the data. And they only provide the fields that are asked for. Right? If I click on a listing, I don't only see the fields that were asked for. If it was just a bedroom, bathroom, square footage, that's all I would get back. It allows for a much leaner system. It also allows for security. If I know somebody's abusing that data, they're giving it to somebody else that isn't licensed or not part of the MLS, I can remove that key from the system. Right? So it allows them to have much better data integrity. So they would know if somebody's putting data on another website. They'd be able to find it right away. Right? Now, also what this data allows for is to categorize your transactions as events. So they can learn how to use the system and improve that system to help you be more successful. So to me, it's a win-win to have that type of system in place. And that's where this is moving. This is where we're moving to. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, what's my time like? I don't want to take too much more time. I got a few more minutes. Am I almost there?
A couple more minutes.
You've got time.
Let me stop.
I guess we have time.
Okay. All right. I want to talk about a couple companies that are doing some things that are very interesting in the field of big data and with real estate. And these are kind of, one of these companies at least is what I would call a sidecar type company, meaning that they're not necessarily working in real estate, but what they're doing is providing a service that would help people buy decisions. It's a company called INRIX, that's I-N-R-I-X. I-N-R-I-X. INRIX. They have an app on the iOS and Android stores, and it allows for you to see drive time. I've spoken to the guys at INRIX before, and one of the things that they say is people are no longer measuring distance in miles, they're measuring it in minutes. Absolutely right. I wholeheartedly agree with it. I'm from Iowa. If I told you it would take me 22 minutes to get somewhere, that meant I was about 22 miles away. I'm in Chicago now. If I said it's going to take me 22 minutes, I could be next door. Right? That's how it works. I mean, it's ridiculous. So INRIX, what they do is, on the side of a listing, they have a little field, a little box to allow you to enter your work address. And once you enter your work address, you can calculate the distance from that property you're viewing to work, but also see over the course of a day what your drive time would be like. There's a graph that shows you at around 8 o'clock it's going to be about 50 minutes, then around 10 o'clock it's going to be about 20 minutes, then 5 o'clock it's going to be 90 minutes. So you can actually see, and your dollar takes on a different value then, doesn't it? Yeah. So INRIX, that's one good one to know. They're working with Windermere Real Estate out in the Pacific Northwest, and also, I believe, a couple other companies. There's another one I want to tell you about that is actually built by a realtor. It's called TLC Engine, okay? Which stands for True Lifestyle Cost. Now, I should say about INRIX too. They're using all types of data to build that, historical data based on what they're capturing from their app. They're also using data they've gotten from the government, local, state, and federal. And by the way, this is an assumption on my part, a theoretical assumption, because I've not seen their inner workings, and I don't, you know, they've got a patented system. I'm taking guesses. I don't know what they're doing. Right? But TLC Engine is also doing something similar, except true lifestyle costs. What he's doing, his name's Krishna Mayala, and what he's doing is he has a survey that a member or an agent would give to a client, 31 data points they capture. What kind of car do you have, make and model, year? How important is school to you? How important is a walkable community? How important is entertainment? How important is your work life? You know, those kinds of things, right? Capturing those data points. Then you put that all in the system, and it comes up with an algorithm to figure out what the cost of properties around an area would be. So for instance, if I found a couple of properties that were like 20 minutes away from, let's say I lived in Chicago, I live in Chicago. I found two that were 20 minutes away from where I worked at. The problem is they were really expensive. You know, remember my mortgage is probably $2,300, $2,400 a month. I found some out there, you know, about 60 minutes away, and my mortgage is, you know, maybe cheaper. I don't know, $1,700 a month. I don't know. Which one am I going to go for? $1,700 one, right? I mean, initially, I'm looking at mortgage payment. I got to meet that. What their system does is it takes all the other costs you're not thinking about when you're looking at that mortgage payment: gas, public transit, tolls, property taxes, and it factors it into what you would pay in a month. So oftentimes, the property that's higher price initially is the better value. Right? So TLC Engine. That's a really good one. So I'm going to cut it short here. I'm going to open up to questions and see what your thoughts are and any wonderings you have. By the way, I don't work on Realtor.com. I wanted to get that out because sometimes people ask me.
Anybody have any questions? I do want to let you know before anybody puts up their hand that for anyone wanting to pick Chad Curry's brain after the meeting, we have a roundtable discussion on big data and apps, and it's free to everybody. So he'll be here to talk in length because I know everybody does want to talk to you more. But do I have any questions at all, please, for Chad? Yes, John.
I know that NAR is very goal-oriented.
It's true.
What's the goal for Todd Carpenter and the group to get this put together to help associations and the member?
Yeah, so one of the things Todd's doing, his goal right now is to hire a data scientist because we want to make sure before we start working with these disparate data sets, we have to structure the data in such a way that we can ask the right questions and get the data out and build the models, right? So his big goal right now is to understand all the data sets we have, other data sets we might have access to, and figure out how we might bring those together once we get the data scientists. But the overall goal really is to offer more value to our, I hate to sound general and buzzwordy, but it's really, the value proposition here is to help you be more successful because your success equals our success.
Mary?
That TLC Engine,
Yeah.
that's the name of the company?
That is.
Okay, so is there a site, like, is that usable to us now, or
You
it's not?
can sign up for it, tlcengine.com. You sign up, and I think you send an email and he replies to you. But yeah, he's using it. He actually uses it with his own customers, and he's got a few other people he can talk to. I don't know the details of everything there. I just thought it was a good idea, and something that would be interesting to talk about.
I thought I saw a question over here. No? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Non-nerds like me, this applies not only to real estate, but anything. Are there any great mine sites to go to start digging into this?
Great mind.
Mines, M-I-N-E-S. How do we?
To learn more?
To learn more.
Yeah, so this is a pretty big topic. IBM has done a good job of they built Watson, which is essentially a big data machine, right? IBM has some good information, and I don't recommend, I don't have a specific place to point you, other than say that if you just type big data, you're going to find some articles that reference some good websites. Predictive analytics, I would more likely tell you to type predictive analytics. By the way, one of the services that we do at CRT is we're writing white papers about different topics. Our first one's on responsive web design. We're doing one on data visualization in March, and I think that's the first step to understanding big data, is understanding how to display that data, right? And so I think that's going to be a lot of value to members who's coming in March. So, but yeah, my recommendation is there's a number of books you can read. The big data book in particular is a great one. Even though I work in technology, I'm kind of the Gutenberg style technology. The printed press is nice. I do have an Amazon Kindle, but I prefer a written book. So I highly recommend that book to start with.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
This might be crazy, but with the world becoming so politically correct, is there a problem? How do they get these questions to the public? And can there be a complaint because they're getting into my personal business?
Well, so the same companies who gather things like credit card information are gathering this demographic data. So I mean, it's kind of it's quite honestly, this is something, you're not going to like me for saying this, but it's almost to a point now in our lives where this is something we're going to have to learn somehow to be comfortable with. You can remove yourself from these do not call lists, do not contact, but your data's out there. So I'll end on that note. That's exciting, huh? He told us there's no hope.
Let's please give thanks to Chad Curley. Remember, he'll be here after the meeting for the roundtable discussion. All right, we're moving on to our last panel member. Many of you have already bought into the importance of using video in real estate, but for many of you, your buy-in may not have been translated into action yet. Video in real estate should not end with simply a video of your listings, but your biggest bang for your buck comes with all of the other video opportunities. Take a look at the next couple of videos.
What's wrong with this picture? Surveys indicate that a little more than 12% of realtors use video to sell their listings, and then a quick search on YouTube for real estate in Florida, Massachusetts, and even Connecticut reveals video with thousands of views. Those are your buyers. More than 80% of realtors use Facebook, but the buyers aren't looking at Facebook, they're watching YouTube. Are you there?
So BombBomb is a email marketing company that gives you the ability to easily add videos to your emails. So you can build, send, and track both video and traditional emails.
Ladies and gentlemen, Quincy Clayton will share a bit of insight how he has utilized video in his business and how easy it would be for you to add great video to your marketing and prospecting plans. Quincy?
Good morning again, everyone. I am going to go completely off of my script, if you don't mind. The first thing I'll mention is I was at the NAR convention in San Francisco back in November, and I was walking from my hotel to the convention site when I stopped to get a cup of coffee and a donut. While I'm in there, a gentleman pulls me aside and says, "Excuse me, are you Quincy Clayton?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And then I started looking to see if I had a name tag on, and I realized I had not put my lanyard on yet, so he only knew me by a video he's seen me in. He was the owner of BombBomb, and he recognized who I was. I was so psyched. I couldn't believe this guy, like, he knows me, he knew my name. I didn't even remember his whole name, quite frankly. I sent a couple of videos to him and to some other people, and so I don't limit my videos simply to videoing my properties. Now, if any of you really truly know me, you know that I video, I'm pretty much anything. I was asked to take a video off of the NAR YPN group page, Anyone remember Hurricane Sandy? Anyone ever see my video of me doing the falling off my deck? They didn't take too kindly to that. They laughed, but there were a couple of people who, my family, they're going through, they don't have electricity, they think it's a little insensitive. I didn't have electricity either, but I made light of the situation. Bottom line is, I video everything. Anyone videoing their listings? Anyone videoing their listings? I know you guys do. You guys are pretty awesome. There's the brave team back there. Anyone else videoing their listings? Are you serious? I see another hand. You're using some kind of virtual tour software? Do they include full motion? Or are they pictures of your listings that are moving to music and they're pictures going like this back and forth? That's what it is? Are they the same picture you're using in the MLS? Yes? Raise your hand, yes? So if the consumer already saw those photos once, do they really want to watch it again to music? Would you want to, if you were buying a house and you already saw the 25 pictures and then all of a sudden there's a video and it says click, video, and you're seeing the same pictures, are you going to finish that video? Is it really a video? I didn't mean to step on your toes, but what they really want to see is the feeling, the perception of walking through the front door. When I look left, what's there? When I look right, what's there? What's directly in front of me? What is the house near? If I turned around and looked out the front door, what am I seeing? What's down the street? That's the kind of videos that you really should be putting out there for your consumers, because otherwise you're competing with the one or two people that are actually providing that service. Anyone have an iPad? iPad users, raise your hand. All right, I said iPad users, raise your hand. iPad owners, probably would be more hands. Most of my videos now are all done on my iPad. They're so doggone good. John has a pretty high-tech camera over there, but you know what, I can't afford that stuff. So I use my iPad. And my videos that are done, people actually think that I've hired someone to do them because the iPad does such a great job. Those of you who are using the iPad, you can use the app that probably came with iMovie. Familiar with iMovie? It's another app called, I believe it's Pinnacle Studio. You may want to jot that down. I think I pay for that one. Once you've mastered the iMovie, then you pay for the Pinnacle. Don't buy the Pinnacle until you master iMovie. When you master iMovie, you'll realize it's great, but it's very limited. And then you move on to Pinnacle. So what I do is I video all of my listings. And what I do is I show it from the perspective of the buyer walking in the front door. I even show the door opening. I bring them through the entire home. Ceiling fans are on, so you know it's full motion. You show it from the top, you go to the bottom. You have cool things like under cabinet lighting. You have the video shot with them off. Click the light on, so under cabinet lighting. It's all the cool things that a buyer would actually buy this house over another house because you show them all these great features and benefits. Anyone like to list property near the water? I see someone back there that's pretending to be shy. Go to the beach. Put the camera down or your iPad near the shore. Look at the water hitting the sand. Just let it keep going back and forth. Use the natural sound of the video. What are you appealing to? You're appealing to the buyer's emotions. It's why they are going to buy this house. They've already made a decision to buy it long before they got to the property. As April was saying, they're communicating with you usually when they're absolutely really ready to pull the trigger. You're going to go back and forth online a little bit, but when they're really seriously ready, they found the home of their dreams. You're not going to look at 100 houses anymore. That's in the past. So that's what we're talking about with video listings. But then beyond that, what do you do with the people that are your customers, your clients? That's where video and email really comes into play. BombBomb, B-O-M-B, B-O-M-B, BombBomb.com. If you are getting on an airplane and you are trying to send a BombBomb video, not a good idea. Wait until you get past security. because your data is being recorded somewhere and you type the word bomb, you're in trouble. What BombBomb does is it allows you to take a quick video. You could be in your car. Now, don't do this when driving. But after a listening appointment, you get in your car, turn your camera to you. You know you can reverse your camera, right? Yeah? Okay. Turn the camera to you. Say, Mrs. Smith, it was really nice to meet you. This video that I'm taking right now is not a professional video, but I wanted to tell you as soon as humanly possible how great it was to sit at your kitchen table. I enjoyed the tea. I look forward to meeting with you to sign the paperwork when we list your home for sale. If you have any questions, please call me. My number is 860-123-4567. By the way, give Fido a huge hug for me. Remember something really weird and quirky, that way they love you for that forever and ever. Then you send this to them, but it's through BombBomb. So when they open their email, there's no links to click on. It's the embedded video right within the email. They will inevitably open it. They're not going to not click on it. But what makes it even better is you can see when they clicked on the video. You know when they've clicked it, you know how many times they've clicked it. Now, of course, if you have this video that's being sent, you're going to have a template that hopefully you have set up to look a lot like your website. You all have websites? You all have websites? Yes. I'm a very interactive guy, so if I say something, just talk back at me. So it should look a lot like your website, and you should have it search for more homes or all kinds of things on there. You can see when they click on other links within that same email. So you can find out what they're really, truly interested in, simply because you sent them that one link or one video and they clicked on that. Everything they do. When I go to a real estate conference, I send a "it was great to meet you" video. And then I get to see all the people who are clicking back. And then it's surprising because within there, I send another link that says, see the areas that I serve so that you can refer to me and I can refer to you. They always click on that link and I can see it. What a great opportunity to make money from someone from California or from Delaware, right? Any questions on any of that kind of stuff? I love video. Fire away.
When you start videotaping, do you have to get like whole harmless sign-offs from people if you're going too far with this and you're videotaping some areas maybe you shouldn't be?
Within their home?
Within the home, correct.
Well, no. You're going in there and you're going to have some kind of marketing plan that you're going to get their buy-in for. Hopefully it says, I'm videoing your home. But on the other hand, you have to understand that if they're going to have something like their family heirloom, you don't want to put that in a video. That's just common sense. I don't video every part of a house.
But are you getting something from the sellers to sign off to allow you to do that?
Specifically, no. But on my marketing plan where it says what I am going to do is which says video, yes. It's my marketing plan is actually a contract. It's an agreement. Yes?
There is a card form that I often use that's a permission for videotaping and also allows clients or potential buyers to take photos. That's the car website.
Any others?
It's in zip forms too.
Any other questions, comments?
You threw in that you put a link in your email that says, go look at something else of mine. Where's a good place to learn how to do that? How to embed a link into an email that takes you somewhere else?
BombBomb.
Okay.
Registered with BombBomb. Yes?
Is there any particular technique or equipment that you use to keep it from looking like you're carrying a camera and shaking around walking through the house, or you just use
95% of it is practice.
Okay.
I invested in, I have a tripod as well, but there is a adapter you can put on a tripod that will fit your iPhone or your iPad. And I attach my iPad to the tripod. Only if I really truly want to be still. And I'm filming or videoing the water, and I just want to see the waves hitting the sandy shores, I'll attach it for that purpose. but when I'm moving, I generally will not use a tripod because quite frankly, I'm a very steady videographer. With practice, everyone will get that good. It takes practice.
There are also portable video stabilizers. They're like tripods, but they, they have gyroscopes in them. They're kind of heavy, but it looks like they're on a dome. And they're expensive.
We're going to give you another opportunity to ask me any kind of questions with regards to video. You can get a kind of a hands-on, take a hands-on approach to that as you move forward. And anything techie, because coming very, very soon is RE Bar Camp. Anyone familiar with RE Bar Camp? Real estate bar camps. You know what a bar camp is? Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to let you watch a really quick video, and then I'm going to take 30 seconds to elaborate on what the bar camp will be. It's not about a bar, by the way.
Get ready for RE Bar Camp, CT 2014. Real estate bar camps, where you share what you know and learn what you don't know. A real estate bar camp is an unconference where the agenda is never set until you arrive and set it. Whatever you want to know is available at the RE Bar Camp. Great networking, lots to learn, coming to UConn this fall. Don't get left behind. RE Bar Camp, Connecticut.
I did this video on my iPad, by the way. What I'm going to do in order to explain an RE Bar Camp is you have to move very quickly on this. I need you to participate, I need you to shout them out. Anything techie that you want to know about, I want you to just kind of throw them out in the air real quick when I say go. 1, 2, 3, go!
Blogging.
Blogging, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
Video with iPhone.
Video with iPhone.
Video with iPad.
Video with iPad. Anything else?
Facebook business page.
Facebook business page. So if we had an RE Bar Camp, I would just write all those things down. Everything you thought of. And everyone was going to put a subject matter in the hat, so to speak. You may have Facebook that comes up 20 times and Twitter which comes up 50 times. So we know Twitter is more popular than. So then that's going to go to the top of the list. Then we're going to break up into little groups, and we're going to have people already set up, prepared to lead a discussion on each of those. If you're more interested in Twitter, then you're going to go over there. If you want to talk more about video, you go over there, and so on and so forth. Then you're going to keep rotating. Before you're done, when the day is over, you will know everything you wanted to know. And it's a conference that's essentially, the agenda is only set when you arrive because you tell us what to talk about. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Sam put me on the spot. She wanted me to tell you when it was going to be. And I don't have that kind of memory.
September, after the meeting. Catherine, is it September 11th?
It's after the legislative meeting in September.
Okay. So what you can do is Google RE Bar Camps, RE Bar Camp, and you can kind of learn a little bit more about what the idea, the concept of it is. I think it'll take off in this area very well because there have not been any in our area yet, and I think ECAR will be the first to do it. We're going to lead the pack. The rest of the state is really jealous of us right now. They want to know how to do half the stuff that we do. So when we do this, I want all of you to be there, and we want to have you to bring other people from your office. We want to see 200 to 300 people there. Can we do that?
All right, this concludes our panel discussion. Before we move on to the door prizes, Please give a hand for all of our panel members. They did a great job today. And remember to join us for an informative and interactive discussion covering the landscape of real estate data with Chad Curry after the meeting. And I believe Al Kinsel is coming up to the podium right now. Thank you very much, everybody.